Cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bedtime Stories with Duck and Goose. This is Duck. I can never... Boop, boop, boop. This is Duck. I'm Goose. Let's get started, shall we? Should we get started? Yeah? Okay. We ready. Duck is ready. In his dinosaur outfit. Okay. Dinosaur Lady. The daring discoveries of Mary Anning, the first paleontologist. Mary Anning dodged high tides and crashing waves to scour the beach near her hometown of Lyme Regis in England. She filled her basket with curiosities to sell to tourists, like seashells and fossils with fanciful local names like snake stones, which were ammonites, devil toenails, which were belemnites, wrong way, and angel wings, which were Petricola Belatiformis. Yeah, that sounds right. Belatiformis. She scrambled over crumbling cliffs and rocky peaks while avoiding life-threatening landslides. Despite the constant danger, Mary wasn't afraid. She was determined to uncover the area's long-buried secrets, no matter the risk. Mary learned to read and write at Sunday school, but she wanted to learn more. She had so many questions about the bones and fossils she found, and she needed answers. She borrowed books and copied scientific papers. She sketched intricate drawings of her discoveries, and she made notes. Lots and lots of notes. One morning, when Mary and her brother were exploring the cliffs, they saw something surprising. Nestled in the rock was a large eye socket looking right back at them. Carefully, they chiseled away dirt and stone to expose a 4-foot-long head with a pointed snout. Massive jaws, hundreds of teeth. It was frightening. But Mary wasn't scared. She was fascinated. They coaxed workers from the village to help dig it out and carry it home. That looks like it's longer than 4 feet, but that's okay. Yay, I'm glad it's working for you guys. While the men returned to their work, Mary set out to find the creature's body. The cliffs were constantly shifting and sliding. It had to be buried nearby. Day after day, Mary scrambled over the cliffs. Week after week, she searched. Month after month. After almost a year, Mother Nature lent Mary a helping hand. The powerful wind and the pounding rain from a devastating storm caused several landslides. In one night, the cliff's ancient layers were exposed. Layers that would have taken Mary years to uncover with her hammer and chisel. Something caught Mary's eye. Bones. Boldly, Mary chipped away and uncovered ribs, vertebrae, flippers. Was it a crocodile? A fish? A lizard? No, Mary had discovered a creature never seen before. Was she scared? No, not at all. But many villagers were. Soon they were talking about Mary's monster. The word traveled to a rich collector who offered to buy the skeleton. Mary hated to see it go, but the money would help the Anning family survive for months. The collector donated it to a London museum, and scientists and geologists flocked to the exhibit. They studied it, calculated, debated, They named it Ichthyosaurus, which means fish lizard. The word dinosaur hadn't even been invented yet. Yay, Ichthyosaurus! They made an announcement that shocked the world. Mary's find wasn't just old, it was millions of years old. Their declaration shattered the commonly held belief that the Earth was only 6,000 years old. Also, no one had realized that a species could become extinct until they studied the remains of a creature that no longer walked the Earth. While others discussed her discovery, Mary kept exploring and learning. Over the years, Mary also found many odd, dark, lumpy pebbles inside skeletons. She examined them, reread her notes, studied her drawings. Mary figured out what they were. Except, it wasn't something a lady should talk about. Yeah, I think that's the thing. But Mary was more of a scientist than a proper lady. So she proclaimed these stones, known as bezoars, or bezoars, were actually fossilized poop. Called not bezoars. Just forgot the word all of a sudden. Good heavens. Oh yeah. I'll think of it like tomorrow. Geologists sneered. Scientists scoffed. Then they took a closer look and realized she was right. Mary's discovery helped scholars learn more about what the ancient creatures ate. Oh, coprolite, that's the word. If you ever hear someone talk about coprolite, that's what it is. Fossilized poop. Mary also found many long, thin, cone-shaped fossils. They were unremarkable. Ordinary. At least, on the outside. Curious, she cut one open. Tucked inside was a small pocket filled with a thick, dark residue. Mary was even more curious now. Adding a few drops of water turned the substance into ink. Mary's discovery proved that ancient aquatic creatures squirted ink to hide themselves from hungry predators. That's right. Thank you, Animal Crossing, for teaching the world what that is. I learned it from other documentaries. When Mary was 24, she made another amazing discovery. This creature didn't have legs or flippers. It had wings. Mary had unearthed a prehistoric flying reptile called a pterosaur. Around the world, scientists were talking about Mary's incredible discoveries. But they weren't talking about Mary. Not at first. Even though Mary could identify a species from one single bone and rebuild entire skeletons like a jigsaw puzzle, she couldn't join the Geological Society of London, because women were not allowed. Jerks. She couldn't attend lectures or teach university classes or even take the classes. Rude. It's very rude. But Mary knew her discoveries were important and would change the way people viewed the Earth's past. And so did many geologists, scientists, and scholars. Because where did they go when they had questions? Straight to Mary's cottage. Eager to learn more, they followed her over the cliffs, even if it terrified them. And it did. just like long buried fossils, Mary's achievements have slowly been uncovered and shared with the world. Her daring discoveries helped form paleontology, a branch of geology that uses fossils to study prehistoric life. And she did all of that with a homemade hammer, a chisel, and a never-ending quest to fearlessly keep exploring and learning. Bone bits and fossil facts. A paleontologist is a scientist who studies fossils. Oh, I see. Megalosaurus was the first dinosaur officially named in 1824. In 1842, paleontologist Richard Owen coined the term dinosaur from the Greek dinos, meaning terrible, and saurus, meaning lizard, which means dinosaur translates to terrible lizard. Okay. Look at all these amazing dinosaur facts. A fossil, Latin for having been dug up, is the remains of an animal or a plant that has turned to rock over many years. Here it is. Coprolites, or coprolite, is a fancy name for fossilized poop. Also known as bezoars, or bezoars, they were at one time thought to have all sorts of medical properties. That's right. People used to eat them. Here's the Mary Anning timeline. She was born in 1799. And she died in 1847 at the age of 47. In 2010, the Royal Society of London names Mary Anning one of the 10 most influential British women of science. Yeah. Right. Oops. Oh, here's a tidbit. The tongue twister written in 1908, she sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. For if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore shells. Helps if I could read in a straight line. That was actually written about Mary Anning. Amazing. The end. Eddie, the world's greatest creature. Eddie, if you could be any animal, what would you be? Kenny, I'd be the world's greatest creature. Just listen and see. Yes, dinosaurs and fearless women. That's how we do around here. How we do. Smarty pants women. And dinosaurs, obviously. I mean, you know, as you do. I'd have kangaroo legs to jump way up high and wings like an eagle to soar through the sky. I'd have a dolphin's tail to swim with great ease and arms of a monkey to swing from the trees. With a giraffe's long neck, I'd be as tall as a cloud. And with a lion's head, I would stand really proud. With one little wish, I'd have the animal features. Oh, I'd have animal features. Kenny, I have become the world's greatest creature. Come, watch as I do spectacular things. And just watch what I do with these grand eagle wings. Look, I'm swooping and looping, enjoying the flight. Yikes, my body's too heavy, and I'm losing height. I'm falling, heading straight for a treetop. I know, I'll use my monkey arms to help me stop. Whoosh, I'm swinging and flinging around. Ouch! My neck hit some branches, and I'm plunging down. Whoa, I'm dizzy and giddy, and about to land with a thump. Aha! I can't. Oops. Oy, oy. Aha! I can land with my kangaroo feet. Then I can jump. Whoa. Woohoo! I'm bouncing and prancing. Two more of my talents. Whoops! I tripped over my wings, and I lose my balance. Uh-oh, I'm stumbling and tumbling right into the sea. Oh good, with my large dolphin tail, I can swim with great glee. Whee! I'm splashing and dashing and having a blast. Oh, lions can't breathe down here. Must get to shore fast. I'm so confused now and don't know where to go. I get hurt up above and can't breathe below. Actually, Kenny, I know just what I'd be. If I could choose anything, I'd choose to be me. Amelia Earhart. I'm Amelia Earhart. I didn't have a very traditional childhood. In my days, girls were supposed to wear dresses and behave nicely, but my mother believed strongly in gender equality. That's impressive. This dress might be a better option. I like these overalls. Yeah, I like those overalls on you too, Amelia. She dressed us in pants instead of skirts. She let us climb trees and catch frogs as we pleased. She even built a little ramp on the shed roof and slid down. Blah, 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 blah. Ay, my mouth did not catch up to my brain there for a second. Let's try again. I even built a little ramp on the shed roof and slid down it in a box. I got a lot of bruises, but to me, it was exciting. It was my first taste of flying. What is she doing? Oh, you know, she's just doing what little girls do. When I was old enough, I saved up for flying lessons by working, but it wasn't easy. Hi, are you hiring? Yes, we are, but we're looking for boys. Hi, are you hiring? Sorry, we're not hiring girls. Boo. I arrived at the airfield for training, and I saw how few women were there. I was taught that you get in life what you have the courage to ask for. Oofed. My brain today. I knew I was being judged for my feminine appearance, so I distressed my flying jacket to make me look more experienced, and I cut my hair short, too. Whoa, look, a girl. When I finally finished my training, I was only the 16th woman in the United States to ever obtain a pilot's license. Can you believe it? She's a girl, and she can fly. And so young. My pioneering story almost ended there when I suffered from ill health. When I ran out of money, I had to sell my plane. I even had to cancel my plans of going to university, simply because I couldn't afford it. People thought I had failed. Oh, that's too bad. She was a good pilot. I knew in my heart that if I wanted something, I had to work hard to get it. I began writing for papers and magazines to encourage more women to fly. This is how I earned a living as a writer and could afford to keep flying. I worked hard to get here. I couldn't just give up. Even when no one else believed, I had to believe in myself. Women must try to do things as men have tried. When they fail, their failure must be but a challenge to others. I set my sights on the unknown, wanting to be one of the best pilots in history. I attempted dangerous feats, never been done before. Never do things others can do and will do if there are things others cannot do or will not do. That's a good motto. I mean, mostly. I was the first woman to fly alone across the Atlantic Ocean. I set lots of world records throughout my career. I inspired many women in the United States to achieve their dreams of flying just like I did. People had told me that I would fail, but I wasn't afraid to try. The most effective way to do it is to do it. It's true. Oh. The end. Save the ocean. Somewhere in the ocean, surrounded by a sea of beautiful creatures, lives Kalisha, a brilliant young mermaid. One day, Ag, the turtle, swam by Kalisha's coral home. He was on his way to find a delicious meal of jellyfish. Ag's favorite. Agua? Oh, I get it. Agua's favorite. Can I come with you today? Kalisha asked. She hoped she could see more of the reef with her good friend, who was almost 100 years old. Of course you can, Kalisha. Grab onto my shell and let's go. Agua laughed as he swam forward with the current of the ocean. Oh look, I see some jellies over there, Kalisha exclaimed as she pointed to a group of jellyfish. With a big smile, Agua headed towards the jellies. He ate so many, like they were candy. Kalisha noticed something was wrong with Agua. He was choking on the jellyfish he was eating. Kalisha rushed over to grab the jellyfish and pulled it out of Agua's mouth. This isn't a jelly, Kalisha frowned. She turned to the other jellyfish and realized that most of them weren't jellyfish either. They were plastic bags that had washed into the ocean. But they looked exactly like jellyfish. Oh no. This has been happening more and more, Agua said sadly, still feeling hungry. There have been more bags and less food for me to find. Oh, Agua, this is terrible. How do we clean up our oceans? Kalisha asked her friends. By reduce these 3 words. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Those are great ideas. We can help each other recycle and teach everyone to use reusable bags instead of plastic. Then, turtles like Agua won't accidentally eat trash anymore, Kalisha explained. Recycling plastic containers and using reusable straws will also help sea creatures. Together, we can reduce the trash in our oceans, so we can all enjoy a cleaner Earth, Kalisha said. Everyone worked together to recycle their trash and protect the ocean. Soon, the ocean became clean again. I love eating jellies, Agua said. And I love you, Kalisha replied. Ow, kicked my desk. Happy that she could help keep Agua safe. The end. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Oh, here we go. How to reduce, reuse, and recycle. 1. Try using different containers than plastic. You can reduce how much plastic you use. 2. Reuse plastic and make it have a new use. Plastic containers are great for filling with rainwater to water your plants with. It's true. 3. Make a special recycling bin where your plastic can go. When you recycle plastic, the recycling center will make it into something new. Yeah. Ocean facts. There are only 7 different types of sea turtle. They are the green, the hawksbill, Kemp's ridley, the leatherback, the loggerhead, olive ridley, and the flatback. Agua is a green sea turtle. Coral reefs are home to more than 25% of all the ocean life, and only take up less than 1% the entire ocean floor. It takes the plastic bags that turtles like agua accidentally eat 10 to 1,000 years to decompose. I think that's supposed to say 10,000? I'm not really sure what that's supposed to say. Maybe I think that's just supposed to say 1,000, maybe possibly. 1,000 years to decompose. That is about 10 human lifetimes, which means a bag you use could still be in the ocean when you have great grandchildren. If you choose. If we all work together, we can make a change. Okay. The end. A dog book. Silly, fluffy, barking, jumping, wet-nosed dog book. Every day I walk the street and find so many dogs to meet. Some are friendly, some are shy. Some lick my hand when I say hi. Some are hairy, some are bald. Some are puppies, some are old. Some are big and some are small. I don't care, I love them all. Here's a dachshund, short and squat. He's sausage-like and barks a lot. What a long body and such little legs! Please, let me have one, Mum, I beg. Look at this marvelous spotty creation. A beautiful black and white dotted Dalmatian. Like a bouncing ball full of energy. Oh, let me take him home with me. Skinny and sleek and built for speed. The greyhound is a noble breed. It's true. Just look at how this little one races around with its tail in the air and its nose to the ground. This boxer dog is a butcher's pet. His face is squashy and his nose is wet. Whenever I see him, he's chewing a bone. Oh, how I wish for a dog of my own. With curly groomed hair and a pretty pink bow, this poodle belongs in a top fashion show. Performing cool tricks on the top of the trends. She'd be the envy of all of my friends. Oh, the Great Dane is a dog of impossible size. He's as big as you are, or a pony, lengthwise. But despite that, this giant is really quite sweet. He'd love to give hugs and lie down at my feet, or on the couch, or on the bed, or anywhere soft, really. This old English sheepdog's so covered in hair, I wonder how well he can see under there. The shaggy coat makes him look like a cuddly bear. Why can't I have one? I'd groom him, I swear. Oh, you have to groom him really well. This pug is a pup I see out and about, snorting hello through her short little snout. Her squashy face smiles as she walks on her lead, and her little legs trot at remarkable speed. I sigh as I set off to make my way home, still wishing I had a pup all of my own. But as I get nearer, I hear a strange sound, and toward me, quite suddenly, a small fluffy ball bounds. I feel a wet tongue lick my face. Can it be? Is this sweet puppy dog really for me? This puppy seems different from all of the rest because this is my dog, and my dog's the best. The end. Yeah, me yawning. Alright. Squish, squeeze, and smash. Thank you. My friend, he calls himself the fish. He sees, he takes, then makes a squish. It's her, Fantastic Ellie Keys. Because, you know, she likes to squeeze. To make it simple, we call him Nash. Because he likes when things go smash. The cans of Play-Doh, oh, so much fun. They squish and squeeze and then smash all as one. The kids enjoy the gooey slime. It's wet and mushy all the time. An instant, boom, a sudden flash. All at once, they squish and squeeze and then smash. I love to make a mess, says Fish, with toys and food. That's what I wish. The yummy grapes set out today were grabbed up and quickly from the tray. An instant, boom, a sudden flash. At once they squish and squeeze. Not smash. We play with toys, not food, says Nash. Now look, the broken grapes are trash. It's great when kids can share their toys, like a baby bot for girls and boys. An instant, boom, a sudden flash. At once a squish, but not a squeeze, nor a smash. Then Ellie warns that's baby. Let's try that again. Then Ellie warns that baby's sad. So Fish says, sorry, don't be mad. The grass is marked with doggy poo. That smells much worse than Daddy's shoe. An instant, boom, a sudden flash. Will kids just squish and squeeze? Then smash? No way, that's yucky. The cute and cuddly teddy bear. It's mine, each says. I will not share. An instant, boom, a sudden flash. Will the kids just squish and squeeze? Then smash? No, they tug. But soon, without a peep, the children hug and fall asleep. The end. Alright. I am the solar system. Whoa. I am the solar system. I am the place where your planet, Earth, and 7 other planets circle around a very important star called the Sun. Like a big neighborhood. I'm like a big neighborhood, and the Sun is right in the middle. The Sun is the biggest object in the neighborhood. Its gravity keeps all kinds of objects circling around it. You can't see gravity, but it keeps things from floating away. Even you. And you. When one or more objects circle around another object, it's called orbiting. The planets orbit the Sun, and many planets have moons that orbit them. I think there's a planet missing from this book, but we shall see. Time to explore the neighborhood. There's no air to breathe once you leave Earth, and space is really cold. So, a special spacecraft and spacesuit are needed for traveling the solar system. Ready for blast off? 3, 2, 1. Blast off! It's actually not what they say, but that's okay. Just ahead is the first and closest planet to the Sun, Mercury. It's also the second smallest planet. coming straight behind Pluto. But apparently Pluto is not a planet, so now it's the smallest planet. Oh dear. Venus is the second planet from the Sun. Even though it's not the closest, it's the hottest planet in this solar system. The third planet from the Sun is Earth. That's where you live. That's where you live too. I just woke him up. Earth is the only planet in this solar system that holds all kinds of life on its surface. The fourth planet orbiting the Sun is Mars. Many spacecraft have visited Mars, which is called the Red Planet. And soon, another rover will be landing on Mars. Sometime this month. Planets aren't the only things that orbit the Sun. Just after Mars is the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is filled with dust, asteroids, and even a dwarf planet named Ceres. Tighten your seatbelt. It could be a little bumpy, but don't worry about crashing into anything. Asteroids in the asteroid belt are far apart from each other. Asteroids are mostly made of rock. Some are tiny and some are gigantic. Just past the asteroid belt is the fifth and largest planet orbiting the Sun, Jupiter. Scientists call it a gas giant because its surface is made of gas and liquid. That means there's no solid ground for a spaceship to land on. I just remembered a really funny comic that I saw about Jupiter and its moons. The sixth planet from the Sun is Saturn. It's also a gas giant. The rings that circle Saturn are made of ice, rock, and dust. Saturn's strong gravity keeps the rings from floating away. The seventh planet from the Sun is Uranus. That's right, Uranus. It's called an ice giant because it's very cold and icy. Does it live in North Dakota? I think I know how that feels. Neptune is the eighth and farthest planet from the Sun, except for Pluto. It's also an ice giant. Scientists found Neptune by using numbers and math before they actually even saw it. That's right, they used mathematics to find a planet. Oh, there it is. Don't worry, Pluto is in this book. Hooray! Neptune's the farthest planet from the Sun, but the solar system doesn't end there. Next is the Kuiper Belt. It's a giant, freezing ring filled with rocks, dust, and other space objects, like Pluto. The dwarf planet Pluto is part of the Kuiper Belt. It used to be a planet, and then it got demoted to a dwarf planet. Keep an eye out for bright objects with long, streaky tails speeding through space. Through space. They're called comets. Yeah. The Sun holds the planets and other space objects in place with its gravity. It also protects the solar system with a giant bubble made of solar wind. Solar wind comes off of the Sun's hot surface and blows in every direction, past the planets, even beyond the Kuiper Belt. It blows as far as it can until it forms a giant bubble around the solar system called the heliosphere. Outside of the heliosphere is where scientists say the solar system comes to an end, and interstellar space begins. Interstellar space is the space between stars. There are only 2 spacecraft that have made it out of the solar system and into interstellar space. They are Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, and they are still exploring. I'm not the only solar system in space. There are many more stars out there, with planets that orbit them. But so far, I'm the only solar neighborhood with a planet that's filled with life that we know of. The end. Dr. Wonderful and her dog blast off to the moon. Whoa. One very normal Tuesday, Dr. Wonderful came home from school with 2 things on her mind. 1, her little dog Newton. 2, a question she couldn't wait to answer. Dr. Wonderful loved asking big questions, and answering them felt like solving great mysteries. So, she sprang onto her bed, sending Newton for a loop, and asked, "Why does the moon shrink?" That's a good question. I also love her decoration style. If we had time, I would tell you what all of those equations are, but I won't. What do you mean the moon shrinks? Newton asked. For the past week, I've noticed that the moon is getting smaller, Dr. Wonderful said, pointing to the moon's white crescent. But a week ago, it was getting bigger. Every month, it shrinks down to a sliver and disappears before it grows back into a ball. What I don't know is, why? The moon is so far away, Dr. Wonderful thought. How are we going to solve our mystery? Newton licked her face, trying to be helpful. Dr. Wonderful's eyes went wide as she got an idea. I love that picture. Love it, love it, love it. Love it. Dr. Wonderful's eyes went wide as she got an idea. We can go to the moon in the Space-tastic Mind-mobile. Duh. I call it fancy, Newton said. I can't think of a good dog voice in my head. T minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff. They soared away from Earth and headed straight for the moon. That's probably loud. As they got closer and closer, the moon got bigger and brighter. Where do they plug it in? Newton asked. They don't, but it is bright. I wonder if the moon makes its own light, like the sun, or reflects light, like a mirror, Dr. Wonderful said. Then, she noticed that the closer their spaceship got to the moon, the larger its shadow became. Aha! If we can see our own shadow, it must mean that the moon doesn't make light, like a star. It reflects light coming from the sun. Back on Earth, the moon looked like a crescent. But now I can see that the crescent is part of a big ball, Newton said, getting excited. Anything that looked like a ball reminded him of his favorite game, fetch. Careful how you say that. You're right, Dr. Wonderful said, and started a list of clues that might help her understand why the moon shrinks. 1. The moon reflects light. 2. From Earth, the moon looks like a crescent. 3. But the moon is actually a ball. Newton couldn't resist chasing and chewing his very own ball, which floated around the spaceship weightlessly. Watching Newton circle around his ball reminded Dr. Wonderful that the moon circles around, or orbits, the Earth. She added this to her list of clues. 4. Moon orbits Earth every month. 5. Tell Mom I need a bigger telescope. I don't think that's a clue. Dr. Wonderful did what she always did when she got closer to answering a big question. Think, 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 she said as the spaceship went sink, sink, sink to the surface. When they stepped out of their spaceship and looked around at the strange gray ground, all they could say was, wow. Love that. Things were very different on the moon than on Earth. It was so bright, Dr. Wonderful had to wear moon glasses. And instead of walking, they bounced like old balloons. Each step lifted them higher and set them down slower than on Earth. Wahoo! Newton said, jumping off the ground and twirling, twisting, tumbling before touching down. Then they spotted the most amazing thing they'd ever seen. Earth. They waved to everyone back on their beautiful blue marble. Or planet. During a quick break to play the coolest game of fetch in the universe, Dr. Wonderful noticed that the crescent-shaped chateau on Newton's ball made it kind of look like the moon. Duck farted. Interesting, Dr. Wonderful said, pocketing the ball and adding a clue. 6. The shadow makes the ball look like a crescent. Come on, Newton, she said. I think we're close to solving this moon mystery. As they bounced along, Dr. Wonderful noticed that her shadow was getting longer in front of her, as the sun was getting lower behind her. She added to her list of moon clues, 7. Shadows lengthen as the sun sets behind us. Then they walked into complete darkness. The sun couldn't reach them. It feels like we're in one big shadow, Dr. Wonderful thought. She ran back to the bright side of the moon and scribbled down more clues. 8. The moon has a dark side and a light side. 9. The light side is sunny. 10. The dark side is in shadow. Let me know if you can figure out how I'm counting on my hands. That's it, Dr. Wonderful said, standing right in the middle of the light and the dark. The moon doesn't actually shrink. It just looks like it does because of its shadow. Of course. How does a shadow make something shrink? Newton asked. Only half of the moon is lit by the sun, while the other part is in shadow, Dr. Wonderful said. On Earth, we can't see the part of the moon that's in shadow, so as the moon orbits Earth, we see different parts of the shadow, and it looks like the moon is growing or shrinking. Duck's asleep and his little feet are wiggling, and it's very cute. I don't think you can see it in the camera. Think of the moon as this ball and the sun as my flashlight. If the side of the moon facing you is lit by the sun, you can see the whole bright ball, a full moon, right? But if the side of the moon you see is only partially lit by the sun, you will only see part of the ball, or a crescent. And if there is no light on the side of the moon facing Earth, you'll see, well, you won't see anything. That's called a new moon. So, the moon is always there, even when we can't see it? Newton said. Correct, Dr. Wonderful said, and gave Newton a big moon hug. With their mystery finally solved, they played one last game of bouncy moon tag before heading home. That night, as Newton snoozed in the moonlight, Dr. Wonderful fell asleep, thinking, I wonder what mystery we'll solve tomorrow. Dr. Wonderful's Lunar Fun Facts. Lunar means anything to do with the moon. The sun is the only star in our solar system. It shines light on every object in the solar system, even Pluto. Lunar phases are what scientists call the changes we see on the moon during the course of a month. When the moon is fully lit by the sun, it's called a full moon. When the side of the moon covered in shadow is facing the Earth, we can't see it at all, it's called a new moon. The moon is 238,900 miles from Earth. The moon is made of rock. The moon is 1/4 or 25% as wide as Earth, and you could fit 64 moons inside of the Earth. And someday I will explain that to you because it is volume. Mathematics. Meteorites are rocks flying through space that hit the surface of a planet or the surface of a moon. Craters are the dents and the dips in the moon made when meteorites collided with it long ago. And not so long ago. The end.
All right. I think with that, it's time for bed. Duck fell asleep twice in that.
All right. What is that? Oh, I see. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Even those who couldn't stay awake the whole time, that's okay. That's what this is for. Perfect. Thank you for coming. And remember, we do this every Sunday, usually at 7:30 Central Time. I had technical difficulties today, so I was a little late. Every single Sunday. Yeah. Duck's sleepy. Good night, family. See you next week and have a great time in between then. Be safe. We are good to go. We will see you next week. Stay safe. Have a good week. Thank you all for coming.
Bye-bye.